Wow, I am very low. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the JB Font Show. It's so good to see you. Happy Saturday to every single one of you people in the chat. Y'all looking so gorgeous in the morning. Y'all woke up like this. Okay, so good to see you all. Welcome. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. Just to let you guys know that the JB Font channel is also available on all major podcasts from Anchor to Apple to Spotify to Google Podcasts, and you can subscribe there. I'm part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network, and you can find me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RBN. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you are new to the channel, and please make sure to smush the subscribe button. I may promise you cookies, I may not, but it's the thought that counts, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Yep, it is. I want to give a shout out to all my patrons on Coffee. Thank you for your additional support, and please know that I am deeply humbled and I appreciate your contribution. With that, I just like to give a shout out to all my patrons, people like David Michael, Kush Renata, Socialist Cayman, Rebecca, Cedar Change, Robin During, Michelle D. Village, Smoky Wombat, Robin, Eric Thomas, Kerry Matthews, Paco Mendoza Gomez, and Anchor supporters Anthony Fazio and Jeffrey Kramer. Thank you all so much. Kid Cabello is here.
How are you?
Again. Because we couldn't get enough of him.
How are you? It's great to be back on here. And also, I want to give a huge congratulations to you. Congratulations on getting to 600 subscribers. Obviously, this is something that I want to see more and more content creators like yourself. We need more independent journalists. We need more independent-minded media out there. I wish your channel all the best and continue to keep on growing. 600 subscribers. Listen, everyone, by tomorrow, it better be 1,000, okay? That's what needs to happen. It needs to happen right now, or I got to summon the state of Alphonse Capone, and we're going to have to start shaking some people up and tell them to hit that subscribe button right away. So there you go. Our unofficial saint of the studio. Not official, unofficial saint of our studio.
Shake him up. Shake him up.
Shake him up. There you go. Alphonse
Shake him
Capone.
down.
There you go. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. What do you mean? He's a legitimate businessman. Come on.
Oh my gosh. I got so distracted I forgot to put my I forgot to put on my my podcast. My gosh. I forgot to start recording. Man.
That's perfect.
Does that tell you how entertaining and engaging you really are? Man,
really?
You got me distracted, brother.
I'm very, very, very sorry about this. So everyone that's listening to the podcast right now, it's going to start over again. Congratulations to you again, James, to getting to 600 subscribers. Like I said before, and this is something I'm really serious about. I want to see more independent journalists, more people across the country. I don't care what part of the country you're in. We need more independent media out there, more citizen journalists. It's something I want to see. It's something I'm in true support of, because now more than ever, we need people to cover stories that corporate media won't cover, have conversations that obviously these neoliberal pundits are too afraid to have. And while, yes, you might see some kind of shakeup on Fox News, remember, Fox News is still corporate media, just like MSNBC or CNN or CBS. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's up to the individuals to now start speaking truth to power, because corporate media, no matter what three-letter name it is, they have only one agenda, and that is the neoliberal agenda, the neoconservative agenda, to appease the donors of the Democratic and Republican parties, respectively.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. If it's going to take people to take down, the oligarchy, then it's going to also take the people to take down the corporate media too, because we all know they're lying to us. That's why their numbers are going down. So therefore, it's like, why are we, whatever power that they have, we can just easily, outflank them if we need to. So, and people like you at Heartlands Media are doing that too, which I'm very grateful for.
And what we need to see more too is not only individuals stepping up on YouTube, but also looking at Rockfin and Odyssey. We need to start expanding our content across the board, so no matter what, stay a step ahead of the censorship too. So again, becoming a citizen journalist, not an easy thing. There's no such thing as a bed of roses, but always be adaptable, always be ready for change. And it's something I hope to see more of. And I'm glad to see that there's more people stepping up. You know, I remember a long time ago when there was an outlet called TYT that was the only one. And then it got a little too corporate. But we all know that's sad downfall.
Yeah.
We all know that's sad downfall.
Yeah.
So there we go. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I know that you invited me back on this show because we talked after the first time I was on. I was mentioning about Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Chicago's problems. And my goodness, it is an issue with Lightfoot and her, well, interesting fall. Because, you know, if anything, we have to look at how she got elected in the beginning. And I don't want to interrupt or anything, but I'm pretty sure you have some questions, and I've definitely shared with you some links. So where do you want to start off with Lightfoot and, well, her tenure as being mayor of the city of Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, from what you stated earlier before we went live, you were talking about we should start at the beginning, you know, because you have to know where somebody's been in order to know, you know, where they are at now. Mm-hmm. And so as far as Lightfoot, and a lot of people who aren't up to speed on her, as far as the liberal boxes, she checks them all as far as identity. She is a woman, she is Black, and she is a lesbian. So she has the queer Black woman moniker that people use to defend her. But I'm going to say this I'm going to purse my words carefully. As someone who fits two of those monikers, queer and Black, just because they have those identities does not absolve them from the issues that they or the transgressions that they have committed.
You know, and again, this is something that, because I know you're absolutely correct, because we have to start from the beginning, of course, but let's just address identity politics. This has also been a very dangerous tightrope that we at Heartlands Media have been talking about, even on Chicago Corner, because we understand identity politics and just how, again, in this day and age, you know, how incredible it is to see a lot of individuals get into seats of power who are no longer the traditional straight white male or anything of that matter. However, again, corruption impacts us all. No matter who you are, what you identify as, your gender, the color of your skin, who you worship, we are all susceptible to corruption, crimes, being abusive with power. And if it means fitting into the neoliberal machine doesn't care who you are or where you've been, so long as you serve its interests, then go ahead, sit at the table and put on liberal identity politics. Because again, liberal identity politics has been used as a shield to still keep the status quo. And Lightfoot, again, when she got elected, very historic, Chicago's first Black female mayor, who is also, again, queer, right, lesbian. And I just think it's very interesting that since then, she's Rahm Emanuel 2.0. Started off on a high note, but again, very corrupt. Let me take that back. Not just corrupt. Thin-skinned and continuing on with many of the policies that we saw under Rahm Emanuel. And the city has had it up to here with her constant failure of leadership and the downright behavior of unable to take responsibility for her own failures. And every day we see more and more of hypocrisy from Lightfoot. And recently this whole thing with CTU and her is just the tip of the iceberg. If anything, if we look at who Lightfoot truly was in the beginning, again, a remarkable career, assistant U.S. Attorney General from 96 to 2002, Chicago Police Department Office of Professional Standards. She's the chief administrator of the Chicago Police Department of Professional Standards between 2002 and 2004. Just to be very clear, it's currently a defunct police oversight group. Mm-hmm. And then she also had numerous other roles in the city of Chicago, especially while under Richard M. Daley, who was one of the, I think at this point, one of the last mayors to have a long-term rule over the city. And then, of course, she had her own private practice and was the Chicago Police Board and Task Force from 2015 to 2018 before throwing her hat in the ring in 2019 for her mayoral campaign. And that, by far, that year was a very interesting year because it was assumed that Rahm Emanuel was going to run for his third term. However, if we look at the aftermath of the shooting and murder of Laquan McDonald, Mayor Rahm Emanuel's administration played a key role in covering up that entire crime and the murder of that young man.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of that, we got a clown car of candidates because when Rahm Emanuel stepped down, this was a shocker. We weren't going to get a mayor running for a third term. We were going to get a whole new field of candidates. And it was, I think for that election, not a lot of Chicagoans knew that we were having an election. And at the same time, with all these candidates, how could we pick out the best candidate from the race? And Heartland's Media, way back in 2018, we covered the third mayoral debate. And this was the third one. And we found out the day after that Rahm Emanuel was not going to be running for a third term. So I sent you that link. It's kind of hilarious. Where is Rahm? And it's just a 2-minute video.
Okay.
Yeah, we just kind of, I don't know if people can hear it. I can't hear it at this point, but yeah.
No, I was just playing this as a background.
Yeah.
You know how mainstream media always does, like their background, like silent, like stuff that they're showing, Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like them, but I'm just trying to give people, more of a synopsis of who she is and what she looks like, and
yeah,
so that they can identify who she is and whatnot. But yeah, so the Where's Rahm?
Where's Rahm? It should be the first link above, and it's kind of interesting because it was the first time we had like 9 of the candidates were there, and Lightfoot. I also had a chance to interview her as well. I think all of you are going to get a good laugh out of it, especially at the end.
All right, I'm going to mute my mic really quick so that there's no back.
Yeah, I'll mute my mic too.
On July 25th, 2018, a mayoral candidate forum was held at Horner Park on Chicago's north side of the city. 9 candidates showed, except for one.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Yet again, Mayor Rahm Emanuel is not here. Again, he's not really participating in any of these forums or debates, as well as previous other forums. What kind of statement do you want to make? What is your response for Mayor Emanuel's lack of participating in these forums and debates?
This debate here? Yeah. Well, if I had been in his shoes, I wouldn't have came either, because he's not like.
Well, he's not participating because he doesn't have a good story to tell. And he tries to avoid any opportunity to appear at somewhere where he could possibly get booed.
Look, I think his absence from this incredibly important conversation that's happening all over the city speaks volumes about what he cares about and what he doesn't care about.
He's not going to do anything he's not forced to do. That's the nature of the man.
I mean, it fits his pattern. I mean, what's my statement on his lack of participation in any democratic exercise?
Well, I have nothing to say to the mayor. I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do.
I mean, I don't have anything to say. He's the incumbent. He has the right to. He's going to definitely have to be a part of it once we're on the ballot.
I think it's really inappropriate for him to not participate in these forums.
I think it's something that people should be aware of, in the sense of you have candidates out there putting themselves out. We're going to say things that might be agreed upon or might not be agreed upon, but we have to convey our message to the citizens of Chicago. And if somebody's not willing to do that, then they shouldn't be eligible to run for mayor.
If you want to be the mayor of this great city, you've got to get out there. You've got to meet people. You've got to listen to them. And you've got to demonstrate a level of compassion and empathy for the day-to-day struggles of everyday Chicagoans. And the fact that he won't come out in public in these kinds of forums and interact with the citizens, to me, is disqualifying.
He gets the office. He does his PR, has very controlled press events. If it's not controlled, he's not there. He's never going to show up to something like this. He needs it controlled. He needs it staged. He needs paid applauders.
But once the debates happen, I think we'll be able to expose Ron for who he is.
For him, for as I'm concerned, for Ron Emanuel, close up 48 of 50 schools. Close down the mental health institute. Okay? Economic equality is not there in fairness. I would look, something wrong with him mentally. You gotta have something wrong with you. Serious wrong with you mentally. I'm not for sure. I think we need probably he need to be in that.
Oh my God! Oh, it's such an old school video. Oh my goodness. So I know your mic's on mute, my friend, but I just gotta say that last part with Willie Wilson. I interviewed that man. That's one of the interviews I could say that broke me, because as soon as he said that, we wrapped it up. I had to run upstairs and laugh my ass off. That was the funniest shit I ever had to deal with in my entire career. It's up there as being one of my top favorite interviews. It was great. It was no holds bar, and he's actually running for governor for his own party, the Willie Wilson Party, which should be very interesting to see how that's all going to play out for this election cycle for the office of governor of Illinois. But did you notice the interesting statements from Lightfoot? And that's why I wanted to play that video. The words that she was saying, the things that she was trying to explain during that interview I was having with her, and how the mayor needs to get out there, have empathy, be with the people. Mm-hmm. Lightfoot hasn't followed through with any of those statements like a typical politician. Lightfoot has continued, again, to support the neoliberal machine here, turn a blind eye to the establishment politicians that have been in the city council for decades, 20 or 30 plus years. These are politicians that made this their bread and butter. Lightfoot, again, turning a blind eye to Chicago police corruption, political corruption. Again, allowing environmental racism to impact the South and West Side neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. And predominantly those neighborhoods are Black and Latino, working class communities. And yet on the South and West Side areas, we're seeing asphalt plants, industrial facilities, trucking facilities being built next to schools, homes, nursing homes, apartments, parks, public parks. And this is all happening under Lightfoot, who ran under having a strong Chicago Environmental Protection Agency, but yet one of the individuals that's running the Chicago Environmental Protection Agency has a lot of close ties to a lot of these heavy industrial facilities and asphalt plants in the city of Chicago. Now, if you go to the north side, you'll notice one thing. You don't see those facilities there. Or if they were there, they get moved to the south and west side neighborhoods. If you look at a map of environmental pollution and environmental waste, you'll notice that it's predominantly on the south and west side areas, and that's by design. What that is a two-pronged assault. There is, of course, gentrification. When you shut down a public school, again, this was happening under Rahm Emanuel, where you had 54 Chicago public schools shut down. When I was interviewing Willie Wilson, he mentioned 48. Well, sometime afterwards, it became to 54 Chicago public schools were shut down, and they're predominantly on the west and south side neighborhoods. And when you shut down a school, you rip out the beating heart of the community, you cause the land to become devalued, you cause everything to fall apart. But there's another assault, too, that leads to gentrification, and that is environmental racism, because then you're displacing people. People are having health problems. And in the richest country in the world, we don't have Medicare for all, and that's how, again, these communities get displaced. People get displaced from these communities. The land gets gobbled up by these large real estate developers. And then all of a sudden, miracle of miracles, those industrial facilities eventually pack up and go. It takes a while, but they do leave. And it's just interesting that this policy is still happening under Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And just a side note, too, we all know that Flint, Michigan, again, why am I bringing up Flint, Michigan? Different subject, different city altogether. Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean drinking water because there's still lead in its drinking water. Chicago, a major metropolitan city, has lead and other heavy chemicals and pollutants in its drinking water. Rahm Emanuel did nothing about it. Mayor Lightfoot is doing nothing about it, just like she's doing nothing about the police corruption, the political corruption. These are the things that we've been dealing with. And I just want to just state this too, because I know there's another segment of that interview or that third debate that we covered where Lightfoot is explaining some of the issues at hand. And when I look back at it, it's almost night and day. And I wonder just when Lightfoot decided to reveal the mask that she wasn't going to change anything. I know you got some questions, but I just thought I'd just explain it to the viewers, because a lot of people have been asking us, who is Lightfoot? What is she doing?
Yeah. Did she run as a progressive or just as a regular standard Democrat?
A little side A, a little side B. Because when she was going, when the primary was settled, there were two candidates. Because again, originally there was about 16 mayoral candidates altogether, to the best of my knowledge, 16 mayoral candidates. So there was a lot of people running for office. So the vote, it could have been anyone's game. But during the primary, Lightfoot and another individual named Tony Pretwinkle, who is also a Chicago politician, made a career of basically being in control of Cook County, being the president of the Cook County Board. And she was as corporate as they can get, very out of touch. And Tony Pretwinkle also implemented a very unpopular policy, which was the soda tax. And while it does sound interesting, she just made herself a villain to everyone in the city. Everyone felt that the soda tax was a waste of time, and it was quickly revoked. But again, Pretwinkle had a whole bunch of baggage. So compared to her and Lightfoot, Lightfoot was the lesser of two evils, and Lightfoot was saying things a lot of people wanted to hear: police accountability, ending corruption, building a strong Chicago Environmental Protection Agency, funding our public schools, again, making sure that something could be done with the TIF funds. These were things that she was saying. And by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, the TIF funds are tax incremental funding, which is predominant, which should be used to fund struggling neighborhoods, to fund our public schools. But similar to Rahm Emanuel and Mayor Daley, Lightfoot is using the TIF funds as a personal slush fund for projects in the downtown area of Chicago and more affluent neighborhoods on the north side. That's what Lightfoot's doing with the TIF funds, all the while still being corrupt. And we'll get further into corruption, but that's just an idea of the situation we were dealing with during the last election. And again, Pretwinkle ran such a terrible campaign that Lightfoot got 70% of the vote, almost near to it, I believe. She basically took over every single ounce or inch of Chicago. And let's see, I think Lightfoot in the first round, Lightfoot got 17% of the vote between all the primary candidates, which was very interesting. And then sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Hang on. Let me share my screen really quick, because there's some bullshittery afoot from Lightfoot, pun intended.
What happened this time?
I'm not a native of Chicago. I don't live in Chicago, so I don't get a lot of news from Chicago. What the hell, Kit? Public Safety Committee discussed Lightfoot's proposal to sue street gangs.
Oh my goodness.
Do you even know why a lot of especially young men get into gangs? Why are they in them? Why are you going to sue them?
Oh my goodness. I've been focusing on CTU and her fight with CTU. When did this article come out?
Let me see.
Let's get a date.
It was a day ago.
It was a day ago. My goodness. Wow. So that's interesting to see. Wow, Lightfoot. Proposal to sue street gangs. Which one? Which one? It's not the early 90s or 80s when all the gangs were solidified. There's so many different chapters and different groups. Lightfoot is, again, you know what this is? More funding for the Chicago Police Department to crack down, especially on low-income neighborhoods. That's what Lightfoot's using that for, to sue city gangs. What money? You're wasting city resources on that? What does she have to say about it? Can we actually get the volume of her playing? Or is
I'm gonna mute myself so we can hear. It's only 2 minutes video.
I'll mute my mic too.
Justice Ordinance. It would Chicago City Council Committee on Public Safety will meet later today to discuss the Victims Justice Ordinance. It would allow the city to sue gangs, their leadership, and members who profit from illegal and violent acts.
CBS News' Meredith Barrick details what the ordinance could mean for the city and why several people are against it.
Earlier this week, a group of Chicago civil rights attorneys signed a letter asking Mayor Lori Lightfoot to withdraw the ordinance that she introduced last year. The proposal was introduced as Lightfoot is under pressure to crack down on Chicago's gun violence and homicide rates. The letter says the proposed ordinance will cause the city, quote, costly litigation and perpetuate racial disparities in law enforcement practices, and, quote, it will not reduce harm and violence. In a Zoom call with reporters on Thursday, the mayor, who is currently in Washington, D.C., was asked about the ordinance and today's meeting.
I think that there's been a lot of reflexive criticism by folks without really understanding what the contours of this ordinance is.
The ordinance is modeled after the 1993 Illinois Street Gang Terrorism Omnibus Prevention Act and would allow the city to file a civil complaint against street gang members who knowingly engaged in 2 or more gang-related criminal offenses within 5 years of each other.
This is not an effort to try to take grandma's house, as a lot of people, I think, express concerns about. But the fact of the matter is, there is a significant profit motive on the part of these gang members to commit the crimes that they're committing, not just illegal gun trafficking or of drug dealing, but the shootings and homicides that are flowing directly from the illegal gun drug trade.
The ordinance would authorize courts to hold a defendant liable for compensatory and punitive damages or enter a fine up to $10,000 for each offense.
Our goal is to have another tool at our disposal so that we can take action in the fight against these violent criminal gangs who are terrorizing residents in the city of Chicago.
The mayor reiterating that the Public Safety Committee will not be taking a vote on the ordinance, rather just having a discussion. From our Street Side studio, I'm Meredith Barrick, CBS 2 News.
Okay, here's my answer to that. What that looks like.
Deep dish pizza, top to the.
No, deep dish pizza, no.
Sorry, deep dish pizza is the best. It's Chicago style. Now, here's something we could take away from that statement from Lightfoot. Again, they're going to talk about it. When I mean talking about, they're going to figure out a way how they can probably take grandma's house, or either that set individuals up for their homes to be raided and to be, again, put on the chopping block to be, again, have the city sue them. Here's the thing. I'm going to send this link to you. Again, this video is about 27 minutes long, but when you have free time, this is a story that we covered way back early on Hardlands Media, and it has to deal with a full press conference, the Exoneration Project, Chicago Police Corruption. Now, here's what that story is all about. 16 black men were exonerated from crimes that they did not commit. I'm going to say that again. They were exonerated from crimes that they did not commit because of the corruption of 4 Chicago police officers that threatened their lives, their families, and so much more. And this was a very historic event because these 16 men had most of their lives ruined by the corruption of these 4 police officers. You're telling me that this program will not be abused by those cops that are corrupt? You're telling me that this system that Lightfoot is putting in will somehow work miraculously? Remember, there's the same Mayor Lori Lightfoot who's still getting a middle finger from the Chicago Police Department, but yet use federal COVID relief funds to fund the Chicago Police Department and for overtime. But as my colleague E. Heller is saying in the chat, Chicago Corner has talked about this and how there's been numerous times where there's been a lack of accountability for the Chicago Police Department. And again, what is the overall message that this is saying? This means more of a police presence, more police raids in communities that are struggling. Again, we're going to see a further backlash from the communities because how often have we seen throughout the previous years of excessive force? And if the city wants to sue you now because you're allegedly part of a gang, what are the lengths that they're willing to go to drag you to court and make things happen? This is the Chicago environment that we're in, and this is the environment that Mayor Lightfoot is starting to build. But also, again, there's communities in the city of Chicago right now that are even hiring private forces, private security forces to patrol neighborhoods because Chicago Police Department is, quote unquote, overrun, or they're not overrun. They're stretched through too thin at this point. This is the city of Chicago that we live in. This is the nightmare that we live in. And this is the leadership of Mayor Lightfoot, who then also has the audacity to tell small business owners, well, we can't bring any kind of real security to the communities anymore but you'll have to buzz people in your small businesses. That's like an open treasure trove of a disaster waiting to happen, a lawsuit waiting to happen, because that means you're telling that small business owner they have to judge a person on the outside and then decide whether or not to let them in.
Okay. All right.
Welcome to Chicago. Again, by the way, Chicago, it's not just segregated, it is hyper segregated. It's its own thing altogether. Chicago is a hyper segregated city, and it's like that by design. Yes, there's a north side and the south side. But if you look into the north side and south side of Chicago even further, you'll notice every community is heavily divided. And plus, if you look into the way our city is designed through election maps, the gerrymandering is done by a madman who's probably done far too many drugs, and it's nothing but squiggly lines that just don't add up. If I urge our audience, your audience, when they have time, check out Chicago's election districts. Yes, when it comes down to Cook County, things seem a little bit more even, but when it comes down to the city itself and the wards, it makes no sense whatsoever. How can anyone effectively be an alderman of any of these districts that look like a kid drew them up?
Okay.
You were not ready for the amount of bombs that are going to be dropped today, huh?
I haven't seen this much bullshit since I was at a ranch. Like, the amount of bullshittery that is going on in Chicago politics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, hold on, wait. There's one other thing too, because I want to give Lightfoot credit for this, or originally half credit for this. When she first got into office, Daniel, myself, and the rest of the team, we were really excited because she was somebody different. And one of the things that really made her stand out was when she was basically challenging Ed Burke. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ed Burke is, his family has been in political power for about 70 plus years. Now, he got his alderman seat from his father. So when I say we perfected feudalism in the city of Chicago, we have perfected feudalism.
Wow.
It's his father, and then, of course, Ed Burke takes that seat as well. You know, he was recently in a huge scandal, but yet he still has his seat in the city of Chicago. In fact, let's actually look at it. Now, of course, there's still an ongoing investigation with good old Ed Burke. But he's, again, been in office. He assumed office in 1969. Again. Now, he's the accusation by the FBI. He's a criminal. There's a criminal complaint that was filed against Ed Burke on January 2nd of 2019 for attempted extortion. By the way, for the shooting of Laquan McDonald, just so all of you know, that Burger King that actually caught some of the film footage there that the police took away, Ed Burke tried to shake that place down. He tried to shake down Burger King. That's something people don't know. So let's see. The Burger King at the center of Alderman Ed Burke's alleged scheme has ties to the shooting of Laquan McDonald. So here's something I want to read to you. Again, we'll get back to Lightfoot, but this is just a little piece of information. There are more than 50 Burger Kings in the city of Chicago. So to your audience, if you ever come to Chicago, you got the choice of 50 Burger Kings. But none have woven themselves into recent Chicago history like the one at 4660 South Pulaski Road location. In addition, playing a central role in the charges against powerful Alderman Ed Burke, the infamous Laquan McDonald shooting took place right outside the South Side's restaurant doors in 2014. Prosecutors said, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. Woo, let me clear my voice. Prosecutors say Burke tried to extort the location's owners after they sought remodeling permits for the Archer Heights location in 2017. Extorting the location's owners. Now, again, Ed Burke, big fish in a small pond. That big fish had the audacity to take on a corporation like Burger King. It's like that opening scene in Sopranos when the two characters who work for Tony Soprano try to shake down a Starbucks location. And the manager was like, hey, look, you might beat me up, but there's going to be somebody else here, and this corporation is going to replace me. They don't care about me. You're going to shake down Burger King? You're going to shake down Burger King? Come on. Here, and just so you know, I'm not messing with you. You can fact check me too on this one. Send it to you private chat. Enjoy. It's from the Chicago Tribune. There you go. We're only scratching the surface of Chicago corruption. You didn't really know how bad it is here, huh? And Fox News says this is a communist city. This is corporate through and through.
Sir. These are the end times. I'm telling you. These are the last days. I don't even know what to say. My God. You mean I wanted to make a point earlier, but then you interjected.
Sorry, I apologize.
Please. Look, we were at the second circle of hell. Then you were like, no. Let's come down more. And you were like, oh, let's go to the third or fourth circle of hell. And you were like, not deep enough, James. Let's go down. We're going down to the 7th. And then you're like, wow, this is the 7th. You're like, no, we're going to go lower. There's an 8th circle of hell. And then you brought me down to the 8th circle. And I'm just like, what?
You didn't know it was this bad. Yeah, it's just this bad in the city of Chicago. It's just as, and by the way,
this is a blue city?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know how much of it they changed, but in order to run for an office for the city of Chicago, essentially you don't have to run as a Democrat, but you have to put the Democrat name in front of you, of course. So there's a lot of interesting civic lessons to learn in the city of Chicago. Like I said, we're number 1 as the most corrupt city. Add in Washington, D.C., then we're number 2. Remove Washington, D.C., then, God damn it, we are the world heavyweight champions. You have an alderman who is trying to shake down a freaking Burger King. That Burger King has owners. They got to explain to the corporation, and look, I'm not trying to defend corporations here, but it's sort of like they have to go to the corporation and be like, hey guys, someone's trying to shake. They were like, what? Someone's trying to shake us down? No. But that's Chicago politics. I don't know what Ed Burke was thinking, but Lightfoot actually challenged him, and then eventually, while that big fight between her and Ed Burke fizzled away. Like many things that Lightfoot does, it fizzles away. See, I brought it right back to Lightfoot. Just
what
you were not ready. You were not ready for the full on hit of Chicago corruption.
Damn it, Kick! You I'm lost for words now, man. Damn you! You and all your facts.
Well, when there was a while ago when I was saying to a lot of progressive groups that I was a part of, like Chicago in the Midwest, winning the Midwest will be a big deal for any kind of presidential election because we got to get rid of the corruption. We got to get rid of the Democratic machine that's so well oiled here. And that's a whole other can of worms altogether. This was supposed to be about Lightfoot, but mention about some more about Chicago corruption right there.
I mean, the mob ain't got shit on these people. Like, and hold on, I'm just trying to go back to Lightfoot trying to sue the gangs. Like, ma'am, why are people, especially a lot of young Black and Latino men, getting into gangs in the first place?
Because there's a lack of opportunities here.
In your head? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It has. She just doesn't care.
I apologize for cutting you off because I know this is your show. But hear me out. The reason why, again, we are seeing a rise in criminal activity and so much more is because there's a lack of economic opportunities and educational opportunities on the south side and on the west side of Chicago.
Yes!
It's very clear. To say that that's not the case, then you're being blind or stupid on purpose. Now, look, the city severely underfunds its public schools. Now, we do have the resources. And again, I'm going to mention this book. It's called Chicago's Not Broke. Chicago's Not Broke, written by Tom Tresher. and explains the TIF funds and explains how these communities all across the city of Chicago can be funded and why the city of Chicago has access to it. It's a small book. It's about this thick, right? This thick, maybe even a little bit smaller, all right? But in it is so much information about what is wrong with the city, why we have money, and why it's not being used. It's called Chicago's Not Broke. We've interviewed Tom Tresher, and I'll send, you know what I'll do? I'm going to send you some interview links that we've had with Tom Tresher, and we actually did a recording of one of his class sessions, I think at DePaul University. Wait, my goodness. And by the way, I would just want to comment too. I looked fresh and clean in that older video, but I like my bearded long haired look, you know. I like the fresh, clean look. That's when I was like trying to be professional. Now it's, yeah, but that's the book. That is the book to your audience. You want to know why there are things wrong with the city of Chicago? That's the book to read. You want to know why we have money and it's not being used? This is the book to read. Chicago is Not Broke by Tom Tresher. Fantastic read. If you're not reading it, you should. And if you want to know what's wrong with Chicago, you should read it. It's just a fantastic read through and through. I recommend anyone that wants to get better at understanding Chicago civics, that's the book.
Wow.
Yep. Just only scratching the surface. This is only the beginning. And see, Lightfoot is just a continuation of a long, sad history of neoliberalism in the city. So when I ever hear Fox News say Chicago is a communist, crime-ridden city, it's like, well, okay, yes, there's crime. Yes, there's violence. Communist? Whoa! When the fuck did this happen? Or socialist? Really? Well, there is communism and socialism here. It's just for the rich. Because in the downtown area of Chicago, a lot of these corporations and law firms and office buildings pay almost zero in taxes. All that burden's put on the same communities that are being gentrified right now as we speak. All this is happening under Lightfoot's administration. She's just continuing on what Rahm Emanuel and then former Mayor Daley have set up. And they're trying, and again, look, while I understand that identity politics does play a role, that doesn't shield her from the criticism. And that's one of the things, like, it's been that small tightrope to cross on, because when I brought up criticism about Lightfoot, I did get some of the occasional, well, you know, gee, you sound a little, well, jealous. Are you being a little bit disrespectful? You know, I don't want to use the B word or the R word, you know, but it's sort of like, no, guys, she's just as corrupt. This I was like, it's been trying to scream into the void. And of course, when it came down to this whole thing with CTU, well, to be clear, CTU leadership failed the membership. But, you know, a lot of those teachers, the reason why they walked out, the reason why they left, the reason why they even stood up in the first place against Lightfoot just a few weeks ago was because there was the assumption that there would be a 2-week grace period to do some online learning. There were about 100,000 laptops available for Chicago public school students to use. Now, again, we know America's infrastructure is crap. We know that a lot of homes and apartments and a lot of families don't have access to readily available internet. This is a thing. This is why we need to have internet as a public utility. It should be available to all, because let's face it, our smartphones, our laptops, our computers, they're part of our daily lives, whether we like it or not. We are all attached to it. And for the foreseeable future, nothing will fundamentally change. Got to quote Biden on that one. But these teachers had every right to call out Lightfoot. Now, what did Lightfoot do to these teachers? She basically closed down the schools and removed remote learning. However, the charter schools, the private schools, the Catholic schools were still doing remote learning. Then Lightfoot catches COVID. Her and her administration are doing online community meetings and online work. Are you expecting the teachers and students to go in and not question this? So the thing is, look, here's the thing. Right now, COVID has played a severe impact on our schools. Do we need to open the schools again? I think the answer is yes. However, COVID is playing a very severe role in our livelihoods, and we have to make sure that the students, teacher, and faculty are safe. And in that contract, there was on the teacher's point, the assumption that there would be that grace period of doing online learning. There were last year, 100,000 laptops were available for the Chicago public teachers to hand out to their students so that their students could use it. And what happened then? As soon as CTU buckled, the CTU leadership buckled, schools reopened, but the students, I believe a week ago on Friday, did the most heroic thing ever. They stepped up and they walked out. They protested. They protested down the streets. They kept on asking the city, do our lives matter? And apparently, according to Lightfoot, it doesn't.
Wow. You know, and what about Lightfoot's kids?
Wait, one other thing here too. And look, I understand that online there's a lot of talks about, hey, we need to return back to normal. There's this thing that the vaccines aren't working. You know, if you get shot 3 times, you're still going to get COVID. I understand all these issues, right? And the thing is, I noticed a lot of outlets were saying reopen the Chicago public schools, but I wanted to almost yell at everyone, be like, no, guys, you don't understand. COVID is a minor character in this story. The bigger story is Lightfoot getting her petty revenge on CTU when they did a protest against her in 2019, when the teachers union in 2019 walked out. And the thing is, still, when I mentioned earlier in this in the show, gentrification, when a school is shut down, that kills a community, that especially on the south and west side neighborhoods of the city of Chicago. And the thing is, these teachers have every right to push back, fight back, as do the teachers and faculty. And this story about Lightfoot versus CTU is about Chicago corruption. Lightfoot is using COVID as just a cover, or either that saying, well, look, we'll open up the schools. We got to return back to normal. We got to have the businesses running. We have to have everyone going back to work. People are still getting COVID. And I think it's very important that we take the lives of these students and teachers and faculty as front and center. They have every right to be worried about themselves. They have every right to be scared. They have every right to call out the hypocrisy of what the charter schools, private schools, Catholic schools, and what this mayor's administration are doing. Because if they're not going to lead by example, and they're also going to turn a blind eye to what these other schools are doing, then the CTU students, teachers, and faculty have every right to say, we demand online learning too. Because the thing is, there was a contract that was in agreement. Lightfoot was the one that broke it. Like she's broken all of her contracts and all of her promises to the people of Chicago.
What about her kids?
Her kid is doing online learning. She goes to her kid goes to charter school.
So if it's good enough for her kids, then it should be good enough for every other kid.
Yep. And what Lightfoot, and here's the thing, during the presidential election of 2020, especially during the primary when Andrew Yang was still a candidate, there was a conversation brought up to Lightfoot about UBI. Firmly against it. Same Mayor Lightfoot. And even during the height of the George Floyd protests, this is the same Mayor Lightfoot who raised the bridges, dividing the affluent area of downtown Chicago from the rest of Chicago, raising the bridges and trying to further funding the Chicago Police Department. And by the way, too, with the COVID relief funds, she used that federal money in an illegal manner. She paid off the city's debt. Didn't pay it off fully, but at least paying off some of the city's debt. You're not supposed to do that with federal money. You were supposed to invest it to all the outlets that needed that federal relief funds. Lightfoot didn't do that. So when I say to everyone about this fight between Lightfoot and CTU, obviously CTU leadership failed, but teachers, membership, faculty, and students carried the work. Never side with Lightfoot. If you find yourself agreeing with Lightfoot, something is wrong. And it's a rare moment in time where you have to maybe see, okay, Lightfoot, I see your point. I see your point why you're doing it. This is all about Chicago corruption. It's all about Chicago corruption.
Wow. Wow.
You were not ready. You were not ready for the truth bombs.
I wasn't.
And by the way, there's so much more I could share with you about the entire corruption in the city of Chicago. Like, take, for example, the murder of the young boy named Adam Toledo. Now, for your viewing audience, if you don't know who he is, Adam Toledo was a young boy who was shot. Now, the article I have in front of me is from Block Club Chicago. Adam Toledo, the 13-year-old boy whom police shot and killed, is being remembered at the National Museum of Mexican Art's DLS Muertos exhibit. And what happened was, on early March 29th, a police officer shot and killed Adam Toledo. There was a brief foot chase in Little Village. Toledo dropped the gun and was holding his empty hands in the air when the officer shot him. Apologies for that. Now, originally, before the video was set loose, there was talk about how Adam Toledo supposedly shot at the officer. On our second YouTube channel called Chicago Corner, my colleague Jerry Vassilaus and I, before we set up the show, we saw the video ourselves. We saw the foot chase. The gun was dropped. Adam Toledo had his hands in the air, and he was shot. It was a very difficult video to watch. It's something I never want to see again. But that's what happened. The evidence is out there. And Lightfoot had the audacity to say, incredibly difficult to watch. It was, she didn't really indicate anything else that really happened. She was speechless, quiet. And of course, she did her press conference. But I find it interesting, and there's actually a quote on the video link that I sent you. It wasn't difficult for her to have cops outside her house when protesters showed up on her block, though. And she, even then, as soon as the video was released, raised the bridges in downtown Chicago because she was afraid of the protests. That's Mayor Lightfoot. That's our mayor.
She sounds pretty Obama-esque in many ways.
Well, and by the way, I think someone's saying, why aren't they still on her block? Well, the thing is, she's had some altercations with the Chicago Police Department, but yet, time and time again, she has still given them a lot of resources and a lot of additional funding. We could play it. It's about a 15-minute video, but we could play it. Obviously, you could stop whenever you wish, but this is our mayor, Mayor Lightfoot. Let's check out this video. I'll mute my mic.
Yeah, I'll play a couple minutes. I can't play too much because I don't have that much time, but I'll play a couple minutes. We'll see.
Early morning hours of Monday, March 29th, in Little Village, a Chicago police officer shot and killed a 13-year-old boy that we now know was Adam Toledo. And later today, the body-worn camera and pod camera and other video and audio footage, which could leading up to and including, will be released to the public. After first and foremost being shown to the family and with their consent. I have seen those videos, and let me just say that they are incredibly difficult to watch, particularly at the end. I say that not only as a mother of a 13-year-old myself, but as a mayor who's deeply passionate about protecting our young people. Throughout my career, I've watched dozens of videos like this one and been to scenes of police shootings. As you recall, it was my job for many years to investigate police-involved shootings. These videos and these moments are never easy to bear witness to, regardless of the circumstances. And what I've learned is that you need to brace yourself beforehand. Let yourself feel the pain and anguish and shock of these traumatic events to avoid becoming numb as you watch. As more and more people see this footage, I want to ask again that everyone tuning in right now, think first and foremost about Adam Toledo, about what his family is enduring every single day since they learned of his passing.
What's on your mind, Kit?
She's basically telling people, behave yourselves, don't protest. Think about Adam Toledo. Notice, she's not saying, I am appalled by the actions of that officer. The young kid dropped his gun. The officer bang, 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 shot. That's what happened. I saw the video too. I'm thinking about Adam Toledo. That young boy, he dropped the gun, okay? Again, he dropped it. Hands in the air. Already, the officer won the fight. Yeah, he chased him. Okay, arrest. Put the handcuffs on. That's it. Okay, fine. That young boy was shot. Didn't get a second chance whatsoever. And at least according to earlier reports, there was talk of how Adam Toledo shot. I saw the video. No shots were fired except from the police officer's gun. And here is Lightfoot telling people in a monotone voice, behave yourselves. Don't get out of line. Take it easy. Think about Adam Toledo. She's not showing any kind of anguish or remorse. That's our mayor. He hides behind identity politics and is extremely thin-skinned. That is our mayor. I know the time's running short, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I know you got some comments, so there we go.
I find it funny when they want people to remain calm when it comes to these things, but they never ask the police to remain calm. Yeah. They never say, well, the police should have been better. It's always they default to, well, the police, they're the supreme law of the land. Whatever they choose to do in that moment is whatever they choose to do. Mm-hmm. And we should just trust every single thing they do, despite them being imperfect people.
Yeah.
And the police officer disarmed this kid. Mm-hmm. The kid was disarmed.
Yeah.
So therefore, he was no longer a threat to that officer. So my question is, if he was no longer a threat, he was no longer armed, why did you shoot him? Why were you still in fear of your life from a disarmed brown kid? Why were you in fear?
Now, again, to your audience, all of you can see the video. You can watch it for yourselves. It's not easy if you want to watch something like that. I'll agree with Lightfoot on that. It's very difficult to watch. It is. But her conclusion and my conclusion, and I'm pretty sure all of your conclusions, will be different than the mayor's reaction. But if you are going to watch a video like that, brace yourselves. It's not easy to watch. And I understand that being a first responder is a tough job, being a firefighter, paramedic, police officer, whatever. I get it. But my issue is with Lightfoot and how she has allowed this still to go on. Continue on the same policies of Mayor Daley and Rahm Emanuel. That's our city that we're in. Corruption through and through. So whenever you hear a conservative or Republican saying Chicago's a communist city, it's kind of like, no, it's corporate. It's corporate. You got the C part right. Just corporate, not communist, corporate. There's corporate communism, though. The rich get everything in the city.
It's as capitalist as can be.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Through and through. And small business owners, homeowners, and renters are struggling every single day. And, I sent you a couple of links. You could check them out for yourself. Obviously, the work you guys do at Revolutionary Blackout Network is phenomenal. But, just mention that there's a lot of corruption here in the city of Chicago. And it's we only just scratched the surface of it. So I hope you definitely learned something today. Civics Lessons 101. Chicago style.
I'm at a point right now because it makes me want to look at Orlando, where I live, and see how far and deep the corruption goes. Because I can tell you right now, where I'm living is becoming gentrified.
Same all over the city of Chicago. It's happening all over.
Yeah. Just letting anybody know who's listening on the podcast form, you know, if you guys want to get, you know, the full episode, then go onto youtube.com, you know, and go on the JB Font Show, just to let you guys know that you are listening on the podcast form. But yeah, so one of the things that happened, this was a few years back, was there was a lot of land that was near where I live. And mind you, the area where I live, my congressperson is Val Demings. And she's became the congressperson relatively, you know, not too long ago. But years ago, before that, there was a mall that was built. And this call is called the Millennium Mall. This mall has, and it's literally about about a mile away from me. Look, I can jump on a bus, be there in 15 minutes. This mall has a Tiffany's, Versace, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Jimmy Choo. That's what's inside this mall. Why? Because I literally live, if you go about 20 minutes down the street, you will get into a place called Windermere and Isleworth. These are some of the homes of where people like Tiger Woods and Shaquille O'Neal used to live. So this is the part of Orlando that is very well-to-do and wealthy. Who works right here? Well, everybody that lives around me. But guess what? Since then, the rents have skyrocketed in this area. By the way, who is Val Demings' husband? The mayor of Orange County, Jerry Demings. By the way, just to let everybody know, at the same time that Jerry Demings became the sheriff of Orange County, Val Demings was the chief of police of Orlando Police Department. And Orlando is inside Orange County. And then they became mayor and congresswoman. Yeah, we have our shit too in Orlando. And they're Democrats, by the way. Interesting.
Yeah, well, and see, the thing is, and by the way, before anyone types in the comment section, well, you won't see this in a Republican town. Yes, you will.
Oh, you do.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
see
you
it
do.
everywhere. It's everywhere. It's just the thing is, let's just face it, the Democratic machine here is very well oiled in the state of Illinois, especially in the city of Chicago. It's corruption through and through, and a lot of these elected officials, especially in the city of Chicago, have ties to members in the Democratic Party, Republican Party, their corporate donors. You know, it's a story that's all too familiar. And when we look at the city of Chicago, when we look at any city, the story is the same. And somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Evolve NYC, who said, correction, I meant, how come there aren't protesters continuously in front of our house? There have been. It's just right now with this pandemic, as well as other economic issues impacting the working class all across the city, a movement has to be continuous, which is why, again, what you guys did at Revolutionary Blackout Network for that 3-day General Strike Summit meeting is something that we need to do, like a mini version here in Chicago. But there's so many groups here, so many activist groups. I don't know really what it'll take to really organize something like that to make it happen, because it is something that needs to happen at the city level, because you've got these career politicians who have just let the city just continue to burn. And Chicago is filled with good people. Yes, there's corruption. Yes, there's police corruption. Yes, there is violence in the streets. Yes, there's all this other horrible stuff. But there are good people in this city who have done great things to help out their communities, and that's not being talked about.
Yeah.
There are people who've been living in here for generations. You know, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know it's your show, but I just got to say, you know, there was a time when we covered a story in Inglewood. Right, it's on the west side of Chicago, predominantly black, working class people have been struggling their whole lives, and there was talk about Inglewood being cut into two, and also how a public school was going to be shut down. The faculty, students, and teachers all went there to a meeting. Now, mind you, again, everyone that's put into Chicago Public Schools part of the leadership, the board, are selected by the mayor. Lightfoot continued on with that tradition, but this was before she got elected in office. This was when Rahm Emanuel was still in office.
So they're not voted in.
They're not voted in at all. They're appointed by the mayor. Lightfoot does the same thing too, which again explains her warpath towards Chicago Public Schools, a story that's all too familiar. But when Rahm was mayor, one of his people, Chicago Public Board, basically talked down to the community and said, I don't want to be ashamed today. I don't want everyone to yell or scream. I don't want to see in the newspaper, what's happening here in Inglewood. And it was such a disparaging, disrespectful way he was talking to the entire audience. And I'm going to say this, the audience, the students, teacher, faculty were by far more professional than that individual was. They explained why they wanted their school open. They explained why they wanted to remain open. They explained what it meant to them in the community. And Lightfoot, many years later, still enacting the same policies of Rahm Emanuel. I'll send you these links if you're interested in ever checking them out.
Look, it sounds like anybody who's surrounded by Rahm Emanuel ends up being shitty, whether it be Obama or Lightfoot. Because remember, to anybody who's watching, who was Obama's chief of staff when he first went into the White House?
Some guy named
Rahm Emanuel.
I heard that Michelle didn't like him, though. That's what I heard. I heard that rumor.
Well, apparently he didn't really care.
Yeah, I guess so. No one cares.
Yeah. My God, this is... Woo.
You had fun today. We just only scratched the surface. When you get a chance, check out that full, obviously we don't have time, but when you have time, check out the full press conference, the Exoneration Project. It's about 27 minutes. So if you have 27 minutes of your time, check it out in its full entirety. I think you're going to learn something very important. And it was an interesting video that we covered at Heartlands Media.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when we published that video, it came out when Rahm was still mayor. Just to be clear.
Wow.
Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. I'm burping all over the place.
And look, the people in the chat, man, I love these people. Like Choi C said, they're all freaking crooks. Newsflash, I know. Rahm helped cover up the Laquan McDonald's murder.
Mm-hmm.
Quaker said Michelle Obama is a mobster's wife. She doesn't care to see things. Damn, Quaker. Damn.
That Obama library is displacing people too. And it's a predominantly African American community too.
Of course it is.
And so there you go. That's happening.
Of course. I don't even like going down Barack Obama Parkway here in Orlando.
Really? He's got a place named after him there? Okay, wow.
They named a street after him. Near the black neighborhood, by the way. It's called President Barack Obama Parkway. Like, y'all could have just called it Obama Way. I mean, if you're gonna name a street after somebody, at least just make it short. It has to be President Barack Obama Parkway. They might as well put Hussein in there too.
Yep.
You got all the rest of the names in there and titles.
Obama is a straight up neoliberal Democrat through and through, just like all the other lawmakers. That's why I vote third party. I don't support Democrats and I don't support Republicans. Obviously, Democrat and Republican voters, wake up, support third parties. You know?
Please. Especially in local races, because I'm at my wits' end when it comes to these people, and it's like, the reason why that we have crime and gangs, especially in places like Chicago and here in Orlando. You know exactly why, and you know what's behind it. And with all due respect, you as a white man know what's behind it, and you know the reason why. Why in the hell doesn't Lori Lightfoot know?
Well, it's just part of the game here in Chicago politics, and it's something that I hope that eventually in the next election cycle of 2023, people wake up to. I will be surprised if Lightfoot actually runs for a second term. And I did see in the chat earlier somebody said, remote learning is horrible for most city kids. I understand that. I know that there's a lack of infrastructure, but I want to just make it very clear here. The issue at hand was why the teachers and students walked out was because there was an agreement by the city and them that there would be a grace period of some online learning. Lightfoot backed off that deal.
And it was supposed to be a 2-week grace period, right?
Something around that in nature, around 2 weeks, and then Lightfoot backed away from it. And the thing is, this is more of Lightfoot's ongoing, continuing war towards Chicago public schools. And the schools have been constantly under siege and under attack by this administration, very similar to how Rahm Emanuel and even Mayor Daley went after public schools. These public schools have everything working against them. They got the city government that refuses to fund them. They have, of course, the mayor and whoever's mayor, the mayor appoints. One of Lightfoot's promises that she was going to bring in an elected school board. That never happened. There's a lot of things working against public schools, especially on the south and west sides of Chicago. And the thing is, the teachers, and especially the teachers union and the students, have every right to kind of step up and be mad and angry and push back. And if the charter schools, Catholic schools, and private schools are still doing online learning, then of course everyone in the Chicago public school system has every right to kind of raise their hand up and say, well, is that going to be available for us? Can we get help and relief? Because we do have money to do so through the TIF funds that Mayor Lightfoot is choosing not to do. So while, yes, we should open up our schools again, the schools are still underfunded.
Why not even just give parents the option to either do in-school learning or remote learning? Just give them the option then at least. And while we're at it, and maybe this is a larger issue that I have an issue with. Speaking of remote learning and trying to keep kids safe, we all know that a lot of kids out there are poor and they don't have access to a laptop in order to, if they needed to do remote learning, because there's some kids out there that also are immunocompromised. They probably rather stay home, instead of risking it. Why aren't we using the Defense Production Act to get companies like Microsoft to mass produce laptops and computers for kids so that they have the option at least to do remote learning? Why aren't we doing that? That's just an idea.
Well, there were 100,000 laptops that were available. Again, this was in December of last year. We covered it on a Chicago Corner. There were 100,000 laptops available for students and teachers to use for online learning for Chicago public school students.
Oh, Derek corrected me. Said, fuck Microsoft. Use open source software, create and share. I stand corrected. But you see the logic that I'm going with, though, right?
You're absolutely correct.
Mass produce, computers for kids so that they can do, if they want to do remote learning, and even if they don't do remote learning, still give it to them anyway because they need it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about Chicago. It would be a great start in Chicago, but it would be amazing if we could do it nationwide. But I'm just a silly socialist. So people are like, well, we got to make money too. I'm like, have you guys not heard of MMT, modern monetary theory? We literally can just pay these companies to mass produce them and give them to kids. So don't worry about the money. We got it.
Well, the thing is, I know that there's a lot more to talk about. I could go on hours on end about Chicago corruption and many of the other stories, because I think that Burger King story really kind of took you aback of how Ed Burke tried to shake down Burger King. But it's just we're just scratching the surface. Again, check out that video I sent you about the exoneration project, and you'll just see it's just It's just that bad here when it comes down to lack of accountability. Now, there are good people in the city of Chicago. I do believe that. I believe the world is filled with good people. You have good people who are first responders. You have good teachers. You have great people living in the city. It's just right now the people running this city to the ground are inherently corrupt, and there's a lot of misinformation. So in 2023 will be Chicago's municipal election cycle. 2023. And we're going to do everything we can at Heartlands Media and Chicago Corn to spread the word about that election, and hopefully many of the good candidates, good people that will step up and get these bastards who've been corrupt for so long out of office.
Yeah. Did you want me to go into the exoneration project just for a minute, or did you not have any time left?
Well, no, I have plenty of time. I don't know about your time. I don't want to take up any you know. I mean, but if
I
you
would
want,
actually like to get into it just for a second.
Yeah,
we can
sure.
do a little bit of an extended version of the JB Font show.
Yeah, sure. And by the way, too, I'm so proud of this. If you'll notice, there's there's NBC 5 News, CBS 2 News, Chicago Tonight, ABC 7, WBEZ 91.5, and Heartlands Media right there. That was that. This video came out. Let's see, when was it? September 13th, 2017. Look at that picture. Look at that. Oh, that was great. That was a good time.
That is a beautiful microphone that I see right there.
Yes, it's great. It's right up there. Beautiful. Magnifique.
That is gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna mute myself for a second, and then we'll get into like the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Yep.
So that we can see, and then I'll let you take it from there.
The copies of the pleadings are on the table. Our extensive exhibit list is there as well, and some demonstratives for you of some charts and timelines of the corruption. I hope everyone will pick it up and take a look, and I'm answering any questions that you have. My name is Joshua Tepfer. That's Tepfer, and I'm an attorney with the Exoneration Project at the University of Chicago Law School. I'm joined by a number of people here to go through, but there are 8.
Just to let you guys know, I'm trying to increase the volume more, but for some reason it's not going up anymore. So I do apologize. This is as high as it goes.
Individuals who are involved as petitioners, in this case 7 petitioners, and then Ellian Thomas, who is the son of Philip Thomas. Philip got in a serious car accident this morning, unfortunately, so he's hospitalized, but his son is here. And Ellian's going to talk briefly. Jamar Lewis, one of our petitioners, will also speak very briefly as well regarding our petition. Of course, Ben Baker and Clarissa Glenn are up here as well, hiding in the background there. These individuals that are standing before you represent just some of the victims that were affected by the Chicago tactical team led by Sergeant Ronald Watts over a decade of terror in the South Side Ida B. Wells housing project. I'm going to ask them to move for a second. But over on that table, Clarissa, can you just move for a second, is the pile of evidence that proves exactly what I just said, that these are victims. What is unique about this case and what we're doing here is that generally when you have allegations of this type of misconduct, it is the words of individuals like the 8 here, the 15 petitioners, or the 10 here and the 15 petitioners in this case, versus the police officers and law enforcement who denies it, and it's a word against them. What's extraordinary about this case is there is no dispute. There is no question that there was an extraordinary amount of police corruption. What we have here what you hear all the time in the legal system is there's overwhelming evidence of something. Overwhelming does not do its justice here. It's indisputable evidence. That, I don't know what we want to call it, 10-inch thick of documents, 10 inches thick of documents, is overwhelmingly filled with law enforcement documents, FBI investigation documents from the Chicago Police Department, the Internal Affairs Division. It's filled with statements from U.S. attorneys. It's filled with, ultimately filled with complaints of these types of people, citizens, all saying exactly what I told you, that there was a decade-long corrupt police unit running rampant.
And that's only scratching the surface. Only scratching the surface. And those are some very big binders, by the way. This was way back in 2017 when Rahm Emanuel was still mayor of the city of Chicago. But again, when you go further into the story, especially in the video, when you have time, it's just it's just that bad what happened to all those men who are standing right there. You know, you hear their testimony, you hear their point of view, what they had to go through. It is very difficult to listen to, but I urge everyone when they do have time to listen to it and hear it for itself. You know, it's just a further ongoing corruption that's still running amok. So I know you got some questions.
The damage that was inflicted on this community by these corrupt officers. So I'm going to ask Elliot Thomas to say a word. I am happy to answer any questions that you have, and then I'm going to ask Jamar to say a brief word. So go ahead.
Hi, my name is Elion Thomas. That's ALEONTHOMAS. I'm the proud son of Philip Thomas. I just want the world to know that he was treated wrong, unfair, unjust. Our family is saddened by this, and so is he. We'd like the world also to know that we stand with my father, and we stand for him and with him. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Philip, of course, represented himself at a jury trial where he repeatedly questioned the police officers who were testifying against them, asking them, "You did frame me, didn't you? You did beat me, didn't you?" Arguing to the jury by himself, representing himself because he knew these are the public defenders, the attorneys would tell all of these individuals, "You can't raise this. No one's going to believe you." But Philip Thomas had the bravery to stand up and say exactly what happened to him. Of course, he wasn't believed. Turns out he was telling the truth. Jamar, can you say a brief word?
If we could pause for a quick second. Just so your audience knows this, again, what that the son of the man who defended himself, you know, throughout the entire city of Chicago, you hear the public defenders say, just admit you're guilty. Just say you're guilty, because we're those 4 police officers, that tactical team that carried a lot of weight all across the courtrooms. And all these individuals right there that you're looking at were victims of police corruption and abuse. And there's evidence. Overwhelming is an understatement. There is indisputable evidence right there, right behind those gentlemen.
Yeah. My thing is that a lot of times they always defer to what the police say as truth, but they never get the other side of the story. And they always believe that the police are the ones who are telling the truth and do not seem to think that the police could be lying. And then somehow it's like when they finally discovered the police was lying, it's like, oh my God, they were lying. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course they were.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of them, they lie for a living. They'll be the ones that tell you, okay, all you got to do is confess and then you can go home. They lie for a living. That's what they do. They lie, they cheat, and they steal. The stealing is called civil asset forfeiture. They will cheat you out of the system. They will do that time and time again. to get their man.
Yes, but this
Even
story
if that
here,
man may be innocent.
and all these men here are innocent, set up and abused.
How many lives were ruined?
Correction. Sorry, you're absolutely correct. How many lives were ruined? How many lives do we know of? Because the thing is, this is scratching the surface. We don't really know just how bad this truly is. This was in 2017. So it calls into question a lot of people who have been arrested by the CPD.
Like,
Welcome to Chicago. I knew it. See, you're like, yeah, we're gonna have a great show. I don't think you were ready for this nightmare scenario.
I was not. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. This truth needs to come to light.
Yep. And the thing is, like, way early on, Hard Lens Media, we did a lot of these kind of field reports. When we started doing the show, at least before YouTube started censoring independent media, we were hoping that eventually the show would continue to gain traction so we could go back out there and do more field reporting like this. This is something that we are trying to build up to. 2022, we're starting to build up that launch point. Again, it's on shaky ground because, again, like some of these stories that we covered, a lot of that field reporting we did, it's not for the faint of heart. This is one of those stories right here. Actually, I know he's got a testimony to say. I think it's only fair to let him talk. I know it's been many years, but let's hear his voice.
Yeah. Let me mute myself again.
Yeah.
JAMARLEWIS. I testified on this situation maybe 19 years ago, and I'm just glad that somebody finally, listening to the situation, believed in me.
Thank you, Jamar. And Jamar's absolutely right. Jamar took a bench trial, testified at that bench trial exactly what happened to them. And so many of these individuals filed complaints, tried to tell people were not believed, and oftentimes retaliated against exactly because they told the truth and no one would believe them.
Was there someone here who actually was retaliated against as a result of having an encounter and tried to tell police or tried to file a complaint? Was there someone who did that?
Leonard did. Leonard Gibson, Ben Baker, Clarissa Glenn.
Let's get your first and last name.
Leonard Gibson.
Okay, spell that for me.
LEONARD. Gibson, GIPSON.
Okay, and what was your situation?
My first encounter with him is he told me that if I ever catch you, I'm gonna plant something on you. And the first time he planted something on me. The second time I bonded out. I came home. I put OPS on him. Never heard back from OPS. And 3 months later, he put another case on me.
And as a result of that, the third case.
I have a third case with him as well.
Okay.
I came home from the penitentiary. I did 2.5 years. I came home and he put another case on me in 2008.
And when you say he, was this Watts?
Watts, yes.
Okay. And Leonard, would you explain, when a lot of people want to understand when you say put a case on you, did they actually plant drugs?
He planted drugs on me.
And then his officers, the whole crew arrested you? How many officers were involved?
It was maybe about 6 to 8 of them on his team.
And Leonard, just so I'm clear, so explain to me what that encounter was like. So you're walking home or back to your apartment, and you're walking down the street, and you encounter the sergeant. What does he say?
One time I was actually coming out the building, and I was on my way to my car, and he pulled me back in the building. He said, "Whatever I find in this building is going on you." And he went around the corner, he came back, he put me in handcuffs and walked me out the building.
And the reason that he was doing that was what?
I wouldn't pay him.
So he wanted
me to pay him.
How much?
It was different amounts every time. Maybe 5,000, 10,000, 15,000.
And we have a number of people who couldn't be here. Lee Rainey is an example.
If we could pause it here for a second, I
Can't
want to
be here
explain
today.
because, again, this was our earlier work, so we did the best we could with what we had back in the day. But basically what that gentleman was saying was throughout his entire time, even serving 2.5 years behind in the penitentiary, evidence was planted on him. And he was constantly harassed by that officer and that officer's tactical team and constantly trying to shake him down for money. All these individual stories are basically the same. And it's just a lack of accountability. And this has been going on even when Rahm Emanuel was mayor and even before then, too. So this is the nightmare situation that we are seeing in the city of Chicago.
You thought Bloomberg was bad.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
And this is a video that came out in 2017. So apologies, we did everything we could with what we had. So if there's any clarification that you want to ask me later on, please feel free to. But it's just this is only scratching the surface. And I know we saw Sabby Sabs, the wonderful Sabrina, in the house. Shout out to, she said I look like Al Pacino for something.
Yeah.
So there we go. But she's absolutely right. We're only scratching the surface. These are only the stories that we know of.
Yeah.
These are only stories that we know about. So there we go.
I'm at a point right now where, because I'll be honest with you, a few men in my family have been subject to the criminal justice system, and we've seen how it worked from the inside. So I know from a familial standpoint of what it's like as a family member to see your family member go into jail or prison. And so to be abused by the people who say they want to serve and protect you. I mean, I'll go so as far as to say that these people here have suffered trauma at the hands of the state.
Agreed.
And what type of recompense, what type of restitution have they been given for suffering at the hands of the state?
When it comes down to the city of Chicago, of course, there was a while ago. I better get her name right. I want to get her name right, so hold on. There was a woman who had her house ransacked by the Chicago Police Department, and they basically left her naked, handcuffed for about a half hour, or maybe a little bit longer.
What?
Yeah, they did. So let me. Let's see. I want to get this right. Here we go. I'm gonna send it to you. Private link. Let me go ahead and send it to you. This is a private link. See, I'm sending you a whole bunch of good stuff. So what happened was, now she was handcuffed naked and arrayed to a wrong home. She is set to get $2.9 million. Return back to our good friend Mayor Lightfoot. Lightfoot was also a little bit of a roadblock for Anita Young, who was the woman who was basically suing the city and several police officers over a botched 2019 raid in her apartment. Now, Anita Young is a social worker. She was handcuffed while naked. She cried and told officers they were at the wrong home. And they just kind of left her there kind of naked, standing for quite some time. Yeah, if you see the link, you'll see it. You'll see it for yourself. Told you about Chicago corruption. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Eventually, they realized they went in the wrong home. Yeah, a half hour later. Like, oh, we're in the wrong home. Half hour later, she's still naked. I mean, you only can imagine the amount of trauma and shock she was dealing with. Now, of course, we're seeing the video of her kind of being...
She's traumatized.
Yeah, but for a while, she was not like that. And there's Lightfoot. Lightfoot! Went back to Lightfoot again. Our wonderful mayor, our fantastic mayor.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
No, this is the city of Chicago. This is the city of Chicago. This is what we deal with on a daily basis when it comes down to Chicago corruption, lack of accountability, And, the body camera also showed officers placing her under arrest while she was naked. When she asked to see their warrant, she was ignored and was instead questioned about the target. She told police she did not know who the target was, according to the report. Officers covered up Young in a blanket before a female officer eventually escorted her to her bedroom so she could get dressed. The police accountability officer said that officers realized about a minute after they entered the apartment that the target was not present and was not associated with Young's address, but that she remained handcuffed for about 17 minutes.
God, this
That's-
is wild.
That's the city of Chicago. That is Chicago. So when I say, if we're gonna talk about Chicago and the problems is Lightfoot, like I said, it's there's a lot that needs to be said. There was a while ago too, when we covered, there was a protest. Well, we couldn't film it because people were very scared because they didn't want to be filmed. But there was a protest or march for dead sex workers, right? Women and sex workers that were victims of brutality, rape, and also police harassment too. And what was interesting is when and this was sort of I was speaking to them off the record, none of them we didn't film the event because there was a lot of fear. And one of the concerns was, and I don't have it on me, but in Chicago, if you want to get your press pass, you got to get it from the Chicago Police Department. And so when I know, it's a long story altogether. So when I showed my press pass, one of the ladies actually got a little scared and was like, "Oh," I was like, "No, I'm not a cop. This is the press pass. It's a press pass." But yeah, it's like, again, there's a lot of fear about corruption, not only from our political leaders, but police corruption, and there's corruption through and through. The city is being run by bad individuals, and to be very clear, there's been a lot of good first responders, firefighters, paramedics, and police officers that have in the past tried to call it out, but they're automatically silenced right away or fired.
And they're fired. Yeah. Yeah.
But
because typically if somebody has a conscience and they're working for the police department, they're no longer a police officer.
Yeah. And so the thing is there is corruption, and I do hope that eventually we do get to that better future, but more people need to start stepping up. Yeah.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Heartlands Media, what the hell are you doing?
One of my goals, at least now that I'm running Heartlands, is at least to by the end of this year have at least have a day where we can start funding and doing field research again, doing all that kind of on the ground stuff.
I can't wait to see it. I can't. Man,
that's one of my main goals. So. Yeah, that's really about it, my friend. That's Chicago, and we just scratched the surface. If you want to check out our other channel, Chicago Corner, be sure to subscribe to it.
Yeah. You know what? This is disheartening, but we have to realize what's going on in order for us to be outraged so that we can take action against it. Because this is truly ridiculous. And on top of that, activist Alan Axelrod, he's in Illinois, and he's part of the No Amarin Shutoffs movement, where they're trying to prevent utility shutoffs during the pandemic. And on top of Lori Lightfoot, then you have Governor Pritzker on top of all that, who's also deeply corrupt. And he's a billionaire who's running the state of Illinois. And so you literally have people, their utilities are being shut off in the middle of a pandemic. And some of these people live in Chicago. And so this is one of the reasons why, if you are going to run for office, I recommend third party and do it locally. If you are more in line with direct action and mutual, donate to mutual aid, there is a great mutual aid website called mutualaidhub.org. that is recommended a lot of times by Quaker. She is a brilliant person who helps push this resource for if you're looking to do some mutual aid for people in different areas. You can also, it actually has an interactive map where you can actually go to different places. So if you're thinking about Chicago, then go to the area where Chicago is and look for mutual aid resources there. Mutualaidhub.org.
There's a lot. Here's the thing. I want to say this about mutual aid.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to need to all work together on this. It is needed. We don't have any our elected officials will not fight for social programs. They don't think about it. It's not that they don't like us or they're just being dumb. They don't think about us. So it's up to us to start thinking about each other. So I noticed that there's a lot of your fellow colleagues on Revolutionary Blackout Network that talk about mutual aid. Make it happen. That's all I can say. At this point, we all got to work together. I don't care how we get out of this mess. We just got to work together, and somehow we'll steer the sinking ship to port.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, all we have is us.
There we go. So let's not end this on a dour, sour note. I know I hit you with a lot of truth bombs and stuff that kind of caught you out of left field. Don't worry. I want to quote Sabrina right here. Savvy Sabs says, I need to visit Chicago again when it's warmer. Well, it's nice and warm right now. And get some of that deep dish pizza. Don't forget Chicago pot pie pizza, tavern style pizza. That's right. We got all types of styles of pizza here. That's why we're superior number one. So you could tell the people at Convo Couch that we just got all the best. You could tell Fiorella, tell Craig.
Wait. Pot pie style pizza?
Yes. And wait. Also, we got pan style pizza too. That's right. We got.
No, you don't messed up because you're talking to a boy that loves to eat, as you can see.
Right. But
and now you're telling me there's a pot pie pizza?
Yeah, we got everything. We got everything in this city. We got it all. And here's the thing. What I'm saying is, tell Fiorella. Well, I do appreciate all her hard work that she's been doing for election integrity. You tell her. Chicago's number one in this pizza. You tell her. Someone tell her. Not that New York style pizza. I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay, somebody's gonna have to clip this part and send that to Fiorella and be like, "Look, we're trying to tell you."
I remember.
Look, we're trying to tell you about Chicago style pizza. We ain't playing around now.
No, exactly. And I remember a while ago she did a fake election saying, "What's it better, New York style or Chicago style?" And somehow New York style won. I don't believe it. I think Fiorella committed election fraud on that poll. I think that there was election fraud that was done.
Look, I'm originally from New Jersey, okay, and I've had New York style. I've never truly had Wait, have I had? Does going to Uno's count?
All right, I kind of sort of. I'll let it slide, and some others won't. But okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Who am I to judge? I don't care. I'm just saying that we're number one, though. That's all.
I don't know, but look, I'm willing to be a judge and sit and taste test.
Mm-hmm.
I am willing.
And also Sabrina saying Chicago beef and Chicago style hot dogs too. We got the best food ever. There's no debate about it. There is no debate. There's no debate. I refuse a debate. I'll just say I automatically won. You can have a debate, but no. I here's my latest book. I am always right. With a face myself like this.
So look, I usually don't go for a city or state or U.S. supremacy, but when it comes to food, I'm always down for a friendly competition, because then that means that I get to benefit from trying different types of
There we go. There we go.
Competitors are trying to throw at me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm just trying to say. So, I mean, if you're from New York and you're like, hey, JB, I think I got some great New York style pizza that will beat Chicago's, bring it over. Let me try. If you're from Chicago, get me some of that. I think I heard of Lou Malnati's.
Yeah, Lou Malnati's are pretty good.
Yeah, I heard of them. See, I've never been to Chicago. I would like to come visit. I need to jump on a plane, get my ass over there, and see what it's like in Chi-Town. Because I've been to New York. I've been there.
Yeah, I've been to New York too. New York's got some good stuff, but we're number one.
Yeah, I got some good stuff.
There you go. Number
But
one.
I
Number
am
one.
from across the Ben Franklin Bridge, and can nobody top a Philly cheesesteak?
Yeah. Okay.
real.
Philly. You know, hold on. When I was in Philadelphia, first time getting my foot in the game of independent media and doing some journalism. When we were in Philly, you know, like I said, Philly is a place I'll visit. I don't know if I'll stay, but I'll visit. Like live, not so much, because I found those narrow streets just maddening. I was in some of those neighborhoods, like, man, this I can't do this. But the food, the Philly cheesesteak, that's one of a kind. That's one of a kind. That's one of a kind. Philly, I had a great time. I was there. By the way, like when we were starting off, because we were covering all the elections, the DNC convention. But at least every night we were getting hammered and high.
I love it.
Not perfectly professional, no. But Daniel and I and a few other people, we were there. We were drink, like after we were done, we drank because one, it was so hot, and then we got high. So there we go.
Yo, let me tell you, after getting high and then you get the munchies and then you go for a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh yeah, that was a whole plan. There was a whole plan.
Wait. I bet you after you guys started eating it, you guys were like,
yeah, it was good. It was good. And then of
like
course,
little kids, like.
Then of course we slept. We woke up and we realized, oh, this is the DNC convention of 2016. Oh yeah. Yeah, there you go. We're all over the place. But yeah, no, Philly was a great time. I have much love for Philly. Yeah, we had some good times. Good times in Philly.
Yeah, I'm from across the bridge, and I'm from Camden, New Jersey, which is a place that don't really want to live. But you know, if you can get across that Ben Franklin Bridge, go over there.
Yep.
And
I think Evolve NYC says the revolution will be well fed. Oh yeah, you better believe it. Mutual aid through and through. And
yes.
So
The revolution will be well fed.
And then
I dabble in the kitchen a little bit, just letting y'all know.
There we go.
So
there we go. And then we got Sabrina, who says Chicago music and comedy scene is also good. I can attest to that. The music scene, there's a couple jazz bars and blues bars that I go to. There's Blues Kingston Mines, which is really great. They got Southern Cajun food there and 2 dance floors, which is really awesome. 2 stages, really great place. You need cash to enter in. I don't know if they changed their policy. I hope they're still open. Oh no! If I find out they're closed, I'm gonna cry actually, because they got some good food there. Great crab cakes, man. And then
I love crab cakes, dude.
Yeah, I know. Hell on. Yeah,
I'm supposed to go to my brother's tonight for crab. Oh, it's gonna be a good day.
Good, as it should.
Yes.
And then there's Andy's Jazz Club, which is one of my other favorite spots to go to. Great spot. Really good food. And, well, of course, there's the House of Blues. But you know what? I lived in the city my whole life. I've never been there. But it's like a big spot to go to.
I went to the House of Blues for the first time a couple years ago here in Orlando. We have it in what's now called Disney Springs, but it was called Downtown Disney. Before that, it was called Pleasure Island. But yeah, we have that. And I actually went to go see Fits and the Tantrums, so that was cool.
Okay.
And that was literally my first concert ever.
See, we're ending this show on a good note. We started out a little bit high, then all of a sudden left and right punches about Chicago politics, and now ending on a good note. See, this is one hell of a show, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I would like to discuss is that, and I want people to use their mind's eye in this, because we talk about things that need to be improved within our country all the time. But I want all of you to watching right now to think of this. Imagine, if you will, a city like New York, Chicago, Akron, Las Vegas, whatever city that you live in, and the workers own most of the businesses, so they actually operate the businesses and they make money off of it themselves. We have universal health care. We have, everybody gets paid a thriving wage, at least. There is a comfortable floor. And then there are festivals that happen in your city. Let's say you're in Chicago, and this festival is called the Pride of Chicago, where everybody comes out. They're like, this is the best chili in Chicago. These are the best hot dogs in Chicago. This is the best mushrooms in Chicago. Both psilocybin and edible.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
But just imagine what the future could be if things actually improve. I want you to take that, what you imagine, and hold on to that in your head. Because as long as we keep fighting, as long as we keep having dialogue about these things, and as long as you continue in either your activism, your mutual aid, or your advocacy, we will get there. We may not get there tomorrow, but we will get there sometime later. And I want people to think about, be hopeful about the future. Because as long as you're still alive, there's something to hope for. As long as somebody like Kid's still alive, there's something to hope for. So as long as somebody like me is still alive, there's something to hope for.
But hold on, wait. Here's the thing: we need everyone, because it doesn't matter. Because eventually, look, here's the thing: I like that we have a platform, but everyone's involved. I don't last thing, because here's the thing: you hear, I know Breonna Joy Gray was talking to Jordan Sheridan about TYT and how they kind of dropped the ball, and I saw that interview. And the thing is, you just to the audience, to everyone watching, it's just not what network or what person is saying. This is all of us. So long as you are still breathing, anyone that's watching, so long as all of you are watching and still breathing, you can make that impact. Don't be that person who says that they wish they could have helped.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just like to write, then write. Get a Substack and just write and put your ideas out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has, some good stuff in it, then hey, people like us will want to bring you on and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Heartlands Media. Look, here's the thing. I got inspired by a lot of content creators way back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? The first step is stepping up and doing it. Just doing it. And yeah, you're going to make some mistakes along the way, but you got to try. And Razzle the Great, I got a challenge in there. $24 minimum. No.
Why so low?
No, you make it $60 minimum wage. $60. Make it $70. Make it $70. There we go. $70. $70.
Look, the billionaires, they don't need to be. If we made the billionaires no longer billionaires, you can have that $70 an hour.
There you go. So there we go. But I think we learned a lot. I do have to start wrapping up for another thing I have to start working on pretty soon. So I want to thank you so much for having me back on. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more you want to talk about for Chicago politics, but it was a heck of a journey, and I was rather pleasantly surprised as how shocked you were with the amount of shenanigans we're doing here.
Yeah, I was shocked. But look, anytime that you want to come on, Kit, you are welcome. This is your other home, by the way.
More than happy to be there. And shout out to the work that you and your colleagues do at the Revolutionary Blackout Network. I saw Sabrina in there. Shout out to all the work she's doing. I like how her image, she's drinking the tea. There you go. I like that.
On Friday nights, though, she drinks beer. Just let you know.
What? Drinking beer?
On
Drinking
Friday nights.
Beer? Come on.
Yep.
Come on. Actually, no.
My homie get lit on Friday nights.
we would drink beers while watching the presidential debates in 2020. So we had a whole system during those debates.
We should do a drinking game for the election, for the midterms.
I can promise you this: Hardlands Media, we will be covering the results. There'll be probably an hour long, more than an hour long program. We'll be covering it. So there's going to be beer. There's going to be.
And if you're not into alcohol, make it a smoking game. Every single time they say something in particular, you take a puff. And if you're not into any of that, then get a blow pop, and every single time they say something, take a lick of the blow pop. I don't know, something.
There you go.
But make it fun, you know?
Exactly. Come on. Look,
So-
I mean, yes, politics can be very depressing and tedious, but it can be fun eventually. You just got to get jaded to it. But nonetheless, great show. Glad to share some of that stuff. And be sure that those links that I sent you in the private chat, keep them for yourself if you want to check them out. But that's just, we only scratch the surface of Chicago corruption. I'll be more than happy to talk to anyone about Chicago corruption because it's just that much fun.
All right. Thank you so much. Kid Cabello, everybody. Please make sure to follow him on Heartlands Media as well as his Twitter. I put all that in the description as well below, including the channel for Heartlands Media as well. Follow them on YouTube as well as any other platforms that they may be on. Thank you so much, Kit. It's so good to see you, brother. Deuces. And to everybody, just to let you guys know, if you guys like my content, wish to support me, you guys can just go into Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/JBFont. You guys can, buy me a coffee there. If you guys wish to support me any further, or if you guys don't have it, that's fine too. You guys can just share it on social media, share it with your friends. Share it to people who live in Chicago, because they'll probably be like, every single time that kid makes a point. So guess what? Go ahead, do that. And to anybody else who may be watching, I just want to wish you peace, love, and wellness. And remember my motto: always leave the world better than you found it. All right. Love you, folks. Bye.